From the News Channel 5 Network and Out and About newspaper, this is Out and About Today. Sponsored by the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Hello and welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith, and thank you for joining us for this very special edition. We have a conversation tonight with Nashville Mayor Megan Barry. Joining in on the conversation, my co-host Chuck Long is here with me, and so let's welcome back to the show Mayor Barry. It's so nice to be able to say that.
Well, I'm so happy to hear you say it. So thank you for welcoming me. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Absolutely. It's so exciting to have you back in the official capacity as mayor. So because we were just talking, you know, it's been less than a year since we even started seeing the first ads that you had when you were running for mayor. So does it feel like that much has happened in between now and a year ago?
You know, it's so funny. I forget that we even ran a campaign because now we're running a government. And so I think I've been in office now about 5 months. And that's really been where my focus has been. But it's been, I'm so grateful and so happy to be in this position.
We're glad you were in that position.
Thank you.
Well, obviously our show is part of the diversity programming here, and I know you have a strong commitment to diversity.
Absolutely.
And your staff reflects that.
I
kind of
hope so.
the most diverse staff in Metro government history.
Yes.
Why is that important? I mean, we may have an understanding of why, but why is it important to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's important for government to reflect the community that we serve. And government is about serving people. And so when I walked into the mayor's office, it was very important to me to make sure that my staff looked like Nashville.
Now, of course, you observed local government. You were on the council and that sort of thing before you took the job as mayor. But in being mayor, what has surprised you most?
Well, I think that what amazing employees we have. So I look at the depth of experience with our Metro employees and how much they get up and work so hard every day. And I knew a little bit about that, but boy, now I really appreciate them.
Well, and I too, on the diversity point, you guys have a new chief diversity officer position that I think you're looking to fill.
We do.
Right?
And you know, I talked a lot about that on the campaign trail. Again, trying to say, how do we make sure that government is reflective of Nashville, but also beyond that, how do we make sure that we're bringing in purchasing that reflects our community, and also encouraging other businesses to do the same. I really see the mayor's role as being a convener, bringing the community together around these very important issues. And so we don't have that position filled just yet. We're retooling a little bit about how I think about that. So stay tuned, invite me back, and I'll be happy to share.
Well, that'll be great.
Headed.
So what have you found the key is to steering Nashville as a progressive city politically and from a business standpoint socially?
Well, I think that's where government has to be, and definitely mayors. You have to be pro-business and you have to be progressive. And if you want to do a rewind on the election that we just had, I think the reason why I was elected was because that was my message. I think that reflects who Nashville is and where we want to go.
Now, I know you're the type that wants to be sort of evaluated on who they are and what they do, but we have to ask the question, and we have to bring this up. You're the first female mayor. What has that been like? Pros, cons, good, bad, ugly?
Well, actually, it's been delightful.
Good.
And let me share a small story with you. I was walking in a parade recently, and there were these little girls on the stoop, and I had these two guys behind me, and somebody said, "Hey, here comes the mayor." And these two little girls looked behind me and said, "Well, which one is he?" I'm like, "No, actually, I'm the mayor." And they're like, "Really? A girl can be the mayor?" So that's been it's delightful.
Well, has it surprised you, speaking of that, being a female mayor of a large progressive city like Nashville, are people surprised that you are the first female mayor?
Sure, and while I have the delightful little girl story, I can also tell you the business meeting I was in the other day, and I had already introduced myself and talked to a couple of these guys, and then somebody said, "Oh, you know, the mayor's here," and they immediately turn away from me, and they're scanning the crowd and saying, "Well, where is he?" And I'm like, "No, you just met me." They're like, "Oh," I said, "You were looking for a different face, weren't you?"
That's very telling.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, you've obviously been a longtime supporter of our community, specifically. You know, you have family in our community. You've even performed several marriages here after the SCOTUS ruling. Now, I say all this to say that your connection to our community is genuine, and we do know that. But have you seen your efforts, you know, rewarded in a certain way with us negatively in other communities? Have you been up against anything?
Well, you know, there was definitely some of that used in the campaign, which I found incredibly distasteful.
Agreed.
And but you know, I think one of my family members is a member of the LGBT community, and when I was running, he specifically said to me, "I don't want you to put your election at risk by making this known. And I said, oh no, Nashville voters are better than that. They actually care deeply about everybody. So I have not seen a negative impact.
Good.
Now, I did have one person who had sent me a check during the campaign, and then when I made the decision to marry folks and be part of their joyous days, he wrote me a letter and said, I want my check back.
Really? He wanted a refund.
He wanted you know what?
Well.
I gave him one.
Good for you.
No problem.
Good for you.
So.
Now, Mayor Berry, we wanted to let you know, too, we ask our viewers to submit questions. And so here's one of them, from the Tennessee Transgender Political Coalition. Now, they say, you have talked increasingly about diversity in metro government. To date, no openly transgender person has ever been appointed to any position in the administration or any other boards or commissions. What steps are you willing to take to ensure that the transgender community is represented in policy-making, administration positions in addition to local boards and commissions?
Well, boards and commissions are under the purview of the mayor's office, and I would love any members of the transgender community who are interested in serving on a board or commission to reach out to me. Claudia Husky, who you all may know, she was the president of Pride. She runs that through my office, so if somebody's out there, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you, hear what you're interested in.
No, that's great to hear. We got to cut to break here in just a few minutes, but we'll be right back.
That's right. We do have to take a short break right now, but when we return, we will talk to Mayor Berry about her considerable accomplishments on the job so far. You're watching a special edition of Out and About Today. Come on back.